Hey, this is Greg from School of Rock, and today we're going to talk about tuning your bass guitar. When starting to play, learning how to tune a bass guitar is one of the first skills a beginner needs. No matter how hard you try, you just can't make an out-of-tune bass sound right. Regular practice is essential to learning an instrument, and knowing proper bass tuning makes practice much more fun and rewarding, especially when you're learning the School of Rock way and playing with other instruments. It's now easier than ever to tune your bass guitar and keep it in tune. First, let's start with some of the basic parts of the bass. Tuning is controlled by the tuning pegs on the headstock of the bass. Turning the pegs changes the pitch by tightening or loosening the string. Tightening the strings makes the pitch go up, loosening the strings makes the pitch go down. The question of how often do you need to tune my bass guitar is simple. You should tune it every time you play. You can't expect your bass to always stay in tune between practice sessions. As a general rule, basses stay in tune easier than a regular guitar, but you still want to check your tuning every time you play. If it doesn't sound quite right when you're playing, or if it sounds off when playing along with the recording, it's a good idea to check your tuning. There are two common methods for tuning a bass guitar. The first is tuning the bass guitar notes by ear. Play a reference note from another instrument, or a tuning fork, or pitch pipe, and adjust your strings accordingly. The second is to use an electric or clip-on tuner. You can also purchase and use an electronic tuner for your bass to adjust your strings. Clip-on electric tuners have revolutionized tuning. Unlike old-fashioned electric tuners that you have to plug into, clip-on electric tuners attach to your guitar's headstock and sense the vibration of the strings. They will tell if your bass guitar's notes are flat, too low, sharp, too high, or in tune. Some tuners may have difficulty picking up the E string, which is your lowest note. When buying a tuner, check to see if it can easily read the low string. These tuners are inexpensive, easy to use, and accurate. Many practice amplifiers also feature built-in tuners as well. You have multiple options to choose from when tuning a bass guitar. One is to download an app to use as a pitch tuner. You can find hundreds of tuner apps available for mobile devices. Many are even free. These apps use your mobile device's built-in microphone to hear the pitch of the strings. As you adjust the tuning peg for each string, the display on your device will tell you when you're in tune. You can also tune using a reference pitch from another instrument, like a piano, that you know is in tune. This is a little bit more difficult since you have to tune one of your strings to the reference pitch by ear. This involves listening to the reference pitch, playing the same note on the bass, and comparing the pitches. Adjust your note to match the reference pitch. Once you have one string in tune, you can then tune the bass to itself by playing a fretted note on a lower string, and then tuning your open string to match that note. Bass guitar notes are E, A, D, and G. That's low to high. If you're playing a standard bass guitar, you will notice that your bass has only 4 strings. The standard tuning for a 4-string bass is E, A, D, and G. The same as the 4 lowest strings on the guitar, but 1 octave lower. The bass strings are tuned in fourths. 5-string basses are becoming more common. They can be tuned adding an extra low string, a B, E, A, D, and G, or by adding a high string, making it E, A, D, G, and C. Unlike the guitar, which has most of its strings tuned in fourths and 1 string tuned in a third, bass tuning is generally done all in fourths. If you really want to expand your tonal range, try a 6-string bass. 6-string basses add both an extra low string and an extra high string, making it B, E, A, D, G, and C. There are simple ways to expand your sound without even adding an extra string. Drop tunings became popular in the 90s for heavier music. Drop tuning is when you lower the pitch of your lowest string, usually a whole step below standard. Drop D tuning is done by lowering the E string a whole step down to D. This makes the D note a fifth below the next highest string. This expands the tonal range of the bass and sounds very heavy. In situations where you need to be able to go back and forth between standard and drop tunings, drop D tuners are very useful. These tuners allow you to change the tuning on the fly without having to use a tuner. Once your bass guitar is in tune, there are several things you can do to keep it in tune longer. Change your strings often, especially when they start to sound dead or have trouble staying in tune. When you change strings, be sure to stretch your new strings. You can do this by playing or by gently pulling up on the strings. And be careful not to pull too hard or they will break. Because of the heaviness of the string gauges, basses are generally more stable than guitars, and as a result, they are easier to keep in tune. Bass strings will also generally last much longer than guitar strings. If you're playing often and like your bass notes to sound bright, you may want to change your strings monthly. Others prefer the sound of broken-in bass strings. Most players find that they should last several months. Keep your bass clean. To keep your bass strings sounding fresh, wash your hands before playing and wipe your strings down when you're done jamming. Keep your bass protected in its case. When you're done playing, keep your bass in its case or bag to protect it from the elements. Try not to expose your bass to big fluctuations in temperature or humidity. Whether you use an electronic tuner or tune by ear, if you follow these simple steps, you will have a guitar that is in tune, stays in tune, and is more fun to play. Now that you know the basics of how to tune a bass guitar, why not take the extra step and learn how to master your instrument? From beginner to advanced, School of Rock has taught thousands of students how to play bass guitar and reach their full potential. Our instructors have the knowledge and experience to have you quickly playing your favorite rock songs on stage. At School of Rock, our instructors walk with you step by step to teach you how to play bass guitar with skill and confidence. We make learning an instrument fun so you can get up on stage and rock in a band. Our patented music programs are taught by practicing musicians just like me, with the experience you need to learn to play. With School of Rock, you can perform live shows and develop your skills in a supportive learning environment for all skill levels. If you like what you learned here, head to schoolofrock.com to find classes fit for musicians of all skill levels, or head to the description below to sign up for a class today.